All right. Hello, everyone. Going to be getting started in just a second here. Thank you very much for joining me today. Cool. I'm seeing myself live on the Book of Faces. Looks like they're changing things up just a little bit. Making it hopefully a little easier. To see all the comments. I noticed Facebook has been making some kind of announcements about their game streaming and all that sort of thing over the past week, so that's pretty cool. Yes, Hephaestus, today will be an answery day, not a play day. Hello, Red Piety, Druid's Fire, Titan, Macubray, Jeffrey, King Kaz, Dantiel, Amy, Atsui, Master Robber, Flyflung Flu, McVegan Pants, and everyone else in stream today. Also, thank you very much for those of you joining me live on youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live and Facebook.com/DDO Unlimited. Really appreciate you being here today. We are in the midst of downtime, so I'm going to be talking about the producer's letter, some of the news going on, do lots of Q&A, and then we'll see, maybe end the show a little bit early today. I am DDO's Community Manager Cordovan, for those of you who don't know, and we really would appreciate it if you are interested in getting shows like this, along with our other live streams, to give us a follow on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube to get the videos in your subscription feed, and like us on Facebook for all sorts of reasons, up to and including getting this video. Also, yeah, Twitch desktop app. That's pretty cool. I've been using that at home. All right, first question. Who am I picking for the Super Bowl? Batman. I think Batman's going to beat Superman. That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah. I don't even know much about football. It's true. I carest not for the football. Yeah. All right, so welcome. We are down. So I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Which do you want to hear first? The bad news? Okay, so here's the bad news first, and then I'm going to get to the fun stuff. We have downtime like this. It's going to be happening for a couple of weeks. I'm sorry. It sucks. We know it sucks. But we have to do it anyway. So what's basically why we've been having some recent downtime in recent weeks, and we'll be continuing to have it for a couple more weeks, is we're doing, I guess, what our tech ops people would call tech debt. We have got OS patching. We have got firmware updates. We have got various technical optimizations and connection things and things like that. We've got security patching because of Spectre and all that sort of stuff that's been going on. And apparently some of that downtime takes longer than our usual downtime. And so, unfortunately, and I'm very sorry about this, we're going to have some lengthy downtimes on Wednesdays for the next couple of weeks, and I apologize for that. That totally sucks. So, what's that going to mean for the show, though? So that's the thing, right? I stream Wednesday at noon, and if we're going to be down at Wednesday at noon for the next couple of weeks, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So what I think I'm going to do is actually try to get some guests on. I have political power now because of the downtime to be like, hey, Steel Star Torque, no Bob, Sev, you got to help me out here. And they have to. No, but yes, so it looks like we're going to be probably doing a few special shows rather than the regular server rotation here for the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to get Torque on to talk Druids, Steel Star to talk Renegade Mastermaker, Sev to talk stuff, and I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. I may also be able to do a bit of a preview on our internal server if it too is not down, which I believe it is right now. And so that's cool. And we'll just kind of have some fun. We'll see what we can do here. So now the good news. The good news is we managed to get that producer's letter out yesterday, and it's got all sorts of good things to it. So if I didn't drop Fridays, I could still be gaming then. It's true. So what happened, though, is I had to move the Lotro weekly show I do to Fridays. I was doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but Thursday is a super duper busy day for me because that's when we do all of our bonus announcements and sales. We have like kind of corporate meetings and things like that and planning and just all sorts of stuff. And so it was really hard for me to get all that done and give up my lunch hour for live streaming. So I had to make something go on the calendar. So that's why. Yeah, I could probably get Flimsy on too. Next time I am live, I believe I'm week 1 of 2 on Kyber. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But anyway, we're going to be having fun here nonetheless throughout the next couple of weeks here, even if we do have some downtime. First, though, we have, like I said, we got a producer's letter. So let's go and talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to completely read what he says. You can read it yourself on the DDO forums. This managed to go live about 6 o'clock last night, and it is really our plans for the first half of the year. Be a little bit longer than the first half of the year. But it is not everything that we are doing in 2018. There is one of the reasons why it took as long as it did for the producer's letter to get out is we had a few things that we were like, we're almost ready to announce it, but this has to happen and this has to happen. And ultimately, we just are not in yet a position to announce a big thing that's going to be coming in announcement form later this year. So we just kind of had to go with what we could. And that's why we got it out now. So, Update 38, arriving this spring, returning adventurers to Eberron. The magic that has long protected Stormreach is failing, and a strange plague is sweeping through the city. You will join forces with the healers of House Jarasco to find a cure and save your adopted home. It'll be a new adventure pack, level 14 heroic, 31 on legendary. And we're also going to be doing some tweaks to House Jarasco. I actually hear word that tweakage might be happening in time for the anniversary, even if Update 38 isn't out by then. We are also doing some work on the anniversary event, including some new event rewards and a 12th anniversary reward, typical to what we do. I will tell you this, though. One thing, it is not going to be like the last 2 years where we did kind of item giveaways. If you recall, for our 10th anniversary, we did basically bound to character raid loot, and the 11th anniversary is bound to account raid loot. And we're moving away from that to be more of a traditional gift that we've done, previous to year 10. So it'll be fun stuff that will just sort of be given out to characters. But I don't want to spoil the surprise and tell you more about it than that. We also do have a third artificer tree, as I mentioned earlier. It's called the Renegade Master Maker. Steelstar is working on it. It'll improve your repair spells, curative admixtures, defense, and buffs to yourself and allies. That is in front of the Players' Council, and so undergoing some kind of feedback and changes there. Once it gets through that and gets a little bit more work on Steelstar's part, we'll probably see if we can't get that out to the general forums here relatively soon. We also have Favored Soul getting a third tree. That work actually began a little bit late last year, late in 2017, but had to get sort of set aside so that we could get Ravenloft out, sentient weapons out, and things like that. So some of our systems designers kind of had to take a break on the Favored Soul just to get some other things done. So we'll be picking that up in 2018 here, kind of assessing where we are with it and then getting that out the door. We're going to be updating Cleric War Priest, really to just... I don't think the flavor of War Priest is going to change a lot. Just some of the numbers in that are going to change to make it a little more competitive. And then we're doing extensive work on Druid. Torque is not the only one working on Druid, but he's doing a lot of the work on Druid. He'll be working on the core of the class, its animal forms, its enhancement trees, including adding a third enhancement tree. That also is in front of the Players' Council right now. I believe they've had 2 iterations on it. And when we get that a little bit closer to where we want it to be, we'll be getting that out to you as well. We're going to be updating Treasure of Crystal Cove. That'll be happening by updating the reward list. Yeah, that's been a long time coming on Crystal Cove, but we finally have the time and budget to sort of say, okay, let's do this thing. So we're going to be doing that thing for Crystal Cove, and it should be pretty cool. We also do have our Night Revels plans for October. We're going to be updating the public space to work similar to the challenge system that its dungeons use. For that, if you sort of think of the Night Revels event, you can go in at level, like 5 to 31 and just sort of pick it. And then you go into a private instance of that dungeon. We're probably going to do something very similar to that for the public space. That does mean that the public space is going to be more heavily instanced, so you're not going to see as many people running around with you, but it's going to prevent the sort of camping farming experience that some people don't like, and frankly it's going to dramatically improve performance in that public area. Night Revels, the Talera's Graveyard instance, is still the main reason why Night Revels can be a little bit laggy. And so by changing it to a more heavily instanced system, we're going to be hopefully taking care of that. We also are adding a new dungeon to the favorite Halloween event. That is not going to be the Spectral Dragon thing. I know what it is, but I can't say yet. However, it is also possible that we will be bringing the Spectral Dragon piece of the old Maybar event back. It will certainly not be a 24-person instance. Whether it's a 6 or 12-person instance is yet to be determined, but it is likely we'll be seeing a return, if not this year, then certainly in the near future, and probably this year, on the Spectral Dragon event. Also then, finally, the big news there, well, not just finally, but the other piece of big news is White Plume Mountain. Yeah! Later on this summer, we're going to be releasing our next classic pack. It is a 1979 classic dungeon brought to 5th edition in the Tales from the Yawning Portal. It focuses on 3 sentient weapons hidden inside a volcano, and that's actually from the original OG source. When you think 1st edition sentient weapons, White Plume Mountain is really where the key to that one there. And it's sort of a gauntlet in some ways. It's sort of a test of skill with all sorts of strange rooms and things like that I'm not going to spoil, but that'll be later this summer in an adventure pack. It's also not just going to be White Plume Mountain, though. We're doing some kind of independent standalone dungeons themed around wizards and their arcane environments. Because White Plume Mountain is sort of its own standalone thing, we're going to be expanding it with a few other side dungeons and stuff as well. For sentient weapons, of course, they're going to be in White Plume Mountain. That's a large part of why we're doing White Plume Mountain here, because you guys and gals seem to be digging sentient weapons, and we're happy with them too. We are also going to be adding a kobold-themed sentient jewel for the 12th anniversary. Yep, and also creating a dragon-themed jewel for an as-yet-unannounced release date later this year. And frankly, I think we're going to have a third one too, but we'll see when that happens. And then as I mentioned, that Sev mentioned, we also have a bigger announcement coming later this year, but we can't talk about it yet. So that is the producer's letter in a nutshell. All right, let me go to the questions in there. Is Talero still around? Yep, she's data, BI, and marketing. She does a lot of our number crunching on things, along with being sort of the head of e-commerce right now. Why give up lunch? Haven't I heard of Hot Pockets? I have. Not a huge fan of Hot Pockets, but they're okay. There are all sorts of comments for the big thing that you might get. Oh, nice. Can I check on the status of the game servers? How is the progress? We are still in the process of doing patching. We will update when the worlds are back up and ready for QA testing, is the latest word, and that's from about 20 minutes ago. So we're getting there. Make sure to redo cleric enhancement trees too. They're still the most expensive AP-wise. I don't know that we're actually planning to do that. Yes, they are some of the most expensive APYs, but they're also pretty powerful. I mean, you know, I know that's somewhat subjective, but I don't think we're really going to be doing the rest of the cleric enhancement trees. Sorry. 2 per account again for the anniversary. We haven't announced that. It probably won't be. I think the current thinking is we're going to be doing something per character this time around. The reason we had 2 per account is due to the account-bound named item nature of last year's gift. I hear what you're saying, McVegan Pants. I was saying I'm not sure I find the sound of the new Artificer tree very appealing. On the surface, I think, you know, it's something that a lot of the players maybe aren't really taking advantage of an Artificer right now, in part because it needs work. I think you'll find once we do that work, and when you really take a look at how the tree's coming together, I think you might change your mind on that. There's some really good stuff in the Renegade Master Maker that I think will open up some new ways to play your Artificer. Speaking of Druid Tree, animation needs fixing. Yep, I believe that is part of it. Cove items changing. They might receive a little bit of change work, but mostly it's going to be adding newer versions of them, bringing them up to current game standards, and I think maybe adding a couple of things there to it as well. Are we fixing Iron Defenders? Not yet. Both Druid Pet and Artificer Iron Defenders are going to be part 2 of this kind of class work that's not coming right away with Update 38, but it's something we do want to do. White Plume Mountain, Black Razor, named Intelligent Weapon. Jeff D was my favorite D&D artist. I think he did the back cover. I don't think so. I do like this back cover image, by the way. Pretty rad. Giant crab, yep. Can we keep your timid sentient jewel? Yeah, that's going to be sticking around. On White Plume Mountain, is it going to be heroic as well? I assume so. Pretty sure we'll have a heroic and legendary version of it, pretty similar to what we usually do. I would not expect to see heroic sentient weapons in it, though. The heroic loot's going to be probably different. Why does Undead and Ravenloft get literally healed by cleric heals? It makes my third favorite soul tree all but useless in Ravenloft. Yeah, there's some bugs. I noticed with my Undeath to Death they were getting healed too. We need to take care of that. How did Movember go? It went great. I'm still working to get in touch with people to do meetups. I've done a couple of them and doing more. Can we get a piratey themed jewel? Maybe. Yeah. I want to know if War Soul will be updated just like War Priest. I don't believe so. Any plans on lightening the grind on feeding sentient weapons? No. Any plans for more Forgotten Realms content? Probably. Currently, that's not on our schedule. We're doing, White Plume Mountain and an Eberron-themed thing first. But I'm sure we'll be getting back to Forgotten Realms at some point. Are the cosmetic pirate hat color dyes still only functional during the event? Are the cosmetic pirate hat color dyes only functional during the Crystal Cove event? It's news to me. I'm going to have to look into that one. I'm not quite sure. Lamania build for the third RDT. I do think we're going to see a Lamania update sometime in the near future that's going to have some of the enhancement work and probably some of the anniversary work and that as well, along with 38 stuff. So, correct, Purple Peaks. I was reminded about that by myself this morning that I'd never handed out last week's codes on Galanda. I'll take care of that this afternoon. All right, heading over to YouTube. Do you know why I can't buy DDO Cast swag on Zazzle? I tried to buy your founder shirt and they will not sell it to me. I don't know. Get in touch with Patrick from DDO Cast. Direct message DDO Cast on Twitter. He'll probably get back to you. I know that was set up, the Zazzle stuff was set up after I was done doing DDO Cast. I believe Siegfried and Ann Trent are the ones that set up that Zazzle stuff. But I don't really know what the deal is with it. Is Black Lock really laggy at certain points? Yes. The problem with Black Lock is that there's the area with the boat that has too many independent light sources on it for that size space. It's a very big space with way more light sources than the game engine can handle, which is why if you turn to the wall, you're fine, but if you turn to the light, all of a sudden things get real chuggy. That's the way that is. The only way to fix that is to basically rebuild the space, and we just have not done that work. Clerics are very expensive. Take a second thought. Okay. I mean, I play a lot of clerics, and I gotta tell you, I'm fine with the way I spend my enhancement points, but I hear you. They are among the most expensive, no question about it. 1 second delay thoughts. Did I miss this question already? You did not, but I will answer it. Last week we had an exploit fix that we had to implement a 1 second weapon swap technique. I can't really... The problem with getting into the exploit is that it will give people prone to wanting to do that thing thinking about other ways they could achieve the same result. But it was an exploit that was crashing instances and the game servers. So clearly we had to do something about it. When will we be able to buy Mists of Ravenloft with DDO points? In the FAQ we say March. We are still targeting March for that. What about a patron tree focused on pets, hirelings, and summons? That may well happen someday. Alright, heading over to Facebook. Can we fix Reaper to be able to enter at higher levels and also ban auction house that goes to all servers, as well as an ability that can change bound to character to bound to account? You can enter Reaper at higher levels. You will not get as much Reaper XP. That is working as intended, and we will not be changing that. Also, ban auction house that goes to all servers. We don't have an auction house that goes to all servers, and probably would not be doing that. An ability to change bound to character to bound to account? Probably not. Most of the time, if it's bound to character, it's for a reason. We do have bound to character on equip to try to deal with that for passing. Oh, you mean an auction house that can go to all servers? The main thing about that is you open up some undesirable things by allowing people to essentially swap gold and items and things like that between various servers. Not just the players, but say like spam bots and things like that. So probably not going to happen. Sorry. Will we ever give a free pet to VIPs for a special event? It's not in our immediate plans, but that could happen someday. Will we ever fix the volume on the entrance to Vaughn 5? That's a long-standing one. We probably should at some point. I think what's happening is we have an audio file that's playing on top of itself, so it doubles in volume, essentially. Or 30% higher, or whatever it is. Can we change Reaper to match elite level with no penalty so we can stop splitting player bases? No, stop running Dungeon Alert. Or stop running Bravery bonus. It is neither Bravery nor much of a bonus. You can't have everything. If you want to run it for Reaper, run it for Reaper. If you're obsessed with your Bravery bonus, then run it for Bravery bonus. Tough. If we were to make any change, it would be to remove the 2 levels above for Bravery bonus. Yep. Why waste time on sentient jewels when eventually most people will turn the voice off? Not everyone turns the voice off, and the sentient jewels just aren't only about the voice. Oh, DDO Cast is having some swag licensing issues. Patrick is working on it. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Anyone from Standing Stone Games coming to Origins in Columbus this year? No one officially. I am not going myself. I don't know. It would not surprise me if someone from the team were going to Origins just for fun. But we're not doing anything official there. I maxed out the Sentient Weapon XP. Will it be expanded, and if so, when? We may well expand it in the future. We have the ability to expand it up to, I believe, 10 slots. And that's something we'll probably do at some point here in the future. A producer's letter mentions a plague in House Tarasco. Will we see a hospital in Tarasco or any inner workings of the house like we see the offices of Lord's March? Probably. I don't know about the hospital in Tarasco bit, but you'll see. You'll see. I do think we are going to be working, with the healers of House Tarasco on this issue. So. Darrelai, you're saying you didn't get some points from all the way back in Argo? Just PM me on the forums. I'll get you a code. Don't worry about it. Any new augments for 2018? Probably not. We need to redesign our augment system to be supportable long term. It was designed in such a way that makes continued development on it particularly time consuming in a way that the development team is just like, no. Something to do with like literally thousands of recipes they have to do something every single time it changes. So I think we're going to be more redesigning the augment system and then expanding it rather than adding new augments to the existing system. Is Quick Draw now a broken feat? It's not broken in that it does have the other benefits of, say, being able to attack more quickly, as I understand it, than without it. Because, normally you swap and then there's a pause and then you can swing. And I believe it does help for that, in addition to its kind of minor passive bonus. But I think you raise a good point that Quick Draw probably could get looked at. I'm not sure it's ever been all that really great a feat, but yeah, it's probably something we'll have to take a look at. What qualifications do I have to audition for voice work for Standing Stone Games? Typically, we have developed relationships with a number of voice actors like Cindy Robinson and people like that, both on the DDO and Lotro side. So we have a candidate pool that we tend to go to for most of our voice work that we need. We also work with a production house that has a lot of relationships with voice actors to provide voices. So if we're like, yeah, we need kind of a wizard that sounds maybe something like this, can you help us out? That person is, like, yeah, you should maybe look at this person or this person. And then we do actually just kind of take a look at who's doing voice work for other things and say, yeah, we like that voice. We should add it. Typically, in terms of qualifications, you must be a Screen Actors Guild member and probably have done some voice work professionally elsewhere. I like the increased volume and entering Von 5. It makes me feel vibrant and alive. That is nice. Can I tell us anything you did for your Atari collection? What have I done for my Atari collection? I actually have not had much luck in my Atari collection recently. So no, nothing really new to add there. Yeah, sorry. The jewel gives no benefit other than the weapon's power. Well, that is something, isn't it? Being the main source of power of your weapon is not an insignificant thing. Okay. Is the plague going to be similar to the spell plague that struck in the Forgotten Realms? No. It'll be different. That's cool. Jeffrey, if you have a SAG card, then, I mean, you're half the way there already. Today's downtime is for hardware, software, other kinds of patching. The worlds are going to, actually, as of about 2 minutes ago, QA has started doing their work on it, so it looks like we're definitely on track for 2 and probably closer to earlier than 2. Any chance the door in Talero will be fixed? No. Come on, man. That's been that way since 2006. You don't want to fix that door. It gives you a nice little break. It's a zen moment. Yep. Will the Pale Master be revamped soon? Not soon. We do, as we said, we have Artificer, Druid, Favored Soul to do, but after that we do intend to work on casters like Sorks and Wizards. Probably Pale Master, presumably in the Wizard section there. I couldn't give a time frame as to when that's going to happen, though. Where can you get a Strong Crusader Souls Gem? Trap the Soul Spell. Jeez, I don't know about that one. I don't actually know. Sorry. Yeah, let me look up the weekly bonus here for you quick. As long as I are doing things. Click, 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 click. We have, no, actually, we have got a continuation of the Rizia Ice Games and Evening Star Midwinter Festival. It looks like we don't have any other bonus on top of that. We'll see. We'll see what we can do about that. But nothing is scheduled other than the current event bonus. Any hint on what the new Favored Soul tree will be like? I wouldn't. Here's the reason I don't really want to say too much about the Favored Soul tree. As I mentioned earlier, we started work on that in late 2017, and then I wouldn't say it got shelved, but it just sort of got swept aside in the rush to get Ravenloft, sentient weapons, and other things out. So we're going to pick that back up and take a fresh look at what we want to do with it. It got decent feedback from the Players Council, but I think we can do even a little bit more than what we got from feedback on that. So I don't really want to talk about what it's going to be because it may change, frankly. Maybe a coupon for ice skates? That's a good idea, Titan. I'll see about that. Where can you buy, or when can you buy an SSG shirt? I was actually looking into that. We're going to have to get some lawyers involved and things like that, but I'm down for it. I think we should do it. Who knows? Will we fight Asimir and Dragonborn mobs in the future? Probably. All right, back to Facebook here. I tried to make a Pale Master mix with Artificer and could not summon Skeletal Knight and Iron Defender, could only summon one, so I had to delete that character, but would like to redo that if that ever changes. Yeah, there was a time, I believe, where you could actually do that, but there are various reasons why we don't let you have more than one out at a time. It is a bummer, though, I agree. Can there be more raids that do not involve flagging? Because sometimes it's hard to find groups to quest to be flagged. Probably. Babala Saga, Old Baba's Hut, is one of those raids. You do not need to flag for it. And that was in part to try to address that exact concern, which is that we like raids you don't have to flag floor. Flu fly flakes you don't have to flag floor. 2. So, yeah, okay, there we go. Fix shot on the run. Still applies movement penalties. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that. Will the Jarasco rework move some of the NPCs so they are easier to find? Yes-ish. I've seen at least some of the work that's being done, and I believe we are going to be shifting around a few of the NPCs. I don't know that we might address your specific one, though. Will we see an update to the monster manual? No promises, but it's come up. I'd say odds are fairly good we'll be seeing something new with the monster manual here in 2018, but we haven't committed to that yet, so that's why it's not in the letter. Any update on when bundles might return to the DDO store? Unfortunately, no time soon. What'll happen is we'll have to rebuild the offerings to match what we do with Ravenloft. All right. Can you feed the Sun Sword to your sentient weapon? No. That's pretty awesome, though. Any plans on converting old cosmetics to new? Probably not. We sort of, this dates back a while, so we could perhaps take a fresh look at it, but we did an analysis on purchase rates, what were the ones that people actually bought, and then we converted those, and the rest of them, frankly, people weren't buying them very much. So it wasn't worth it would cost more to make new cosmetics out of it than we possibly ever get back in point sales. Guild rework soon, maybe. I don't think we're going to see a top-down rework of guilds, but I do think we might do a little bit of guild work sometime in the relatively near future. Nivmind has a question about an ASMR toggle that needs to be retoggled frequently. It probably has to do with the way our portal and instance tech works. I think you may just have to be toggling it off and on for the near future. Any plans to sort the TR bank? Not really, because it's not a bank. But maybe. But it's not a bank. Yeah, I think what we would probably see for guilds is maybe that large amenity finally, and some work on kind of the officer system. But no, nothing really to say about that. Well, so here's the thing, Macubray. You're not wrong. There are some people that would purchase those new cosmetics. The question is probably how many, and would that number be even close to the amount of money that would have to be spent to convert it? And unfortunately, and I'm sorry, but unfortunately the answer is no. on a lot of that stuff. Are we working on the personal bank? We have not touched it since our earlier plan to convert it to using the shared account bank tech, and that was rejected by the community. So we have not had a chance to return to that yet. Sorry. Is the Cyclone Blast from Babalus Saga working as intended? Because either level 18 Enlightened Spirit Core and Stand Against the Tide don't ensure knockdown immunity from the Cyclonic Blast. I will need to look specifically, but it does seem like those would prevent if you have knockdown immunity, then yeah, it's probably a bug. Can we buff the Scarecrow Hireling? It hits for 4. Level 1 Hirelings hit harder. No, it doesn't. I use my Scarecrow Hireling all the time. It hits for way more than 4. Sorry, but you're just wrong. Okay, I will say this. It's not a DPS king. It is pretty tough, though. So I've actually gotten quite a bit of use out of that Scarecrow Hireling. What it lacks in DPS, it makes up for in survivability. So, why did the community reject the change to the personal bank? Largely what it was is we wanted to basically bring the shared bank tech to the character bank. The reason for that is performance improvements, and it would bring pagination to the character bank, which is required if we want to offer more character bank space. Because right now, it has to load all that data on all of the tabs every time you open the character bank. So you hit sort of a bloat limit where we can't add any more space to the character bank as it currently sits. So by adding the shared bank and pagination, we would be able to expand the character bank significantly. But there are some folks who really like the tab system because it allows them to, let's just say, have tab 1 be levels 1 to 10, 2, 11 to 20, 3, 21 to 30, 4, cosmetics, whatever. It's allowed for a level of organization that the paginated system did not. And we also, yeah, that's basically it. Like creating subfolders and things like that, essentially. So we would not be able to, in the time frame that was allowed, or that we had, we could not have expanded the account bank to offer quite that level of granularity that people were looking for. So we really just turned our attention to other things that we could get done in that time instead. Can we get a DPS test Cobalt on airships? Probably. I certainly want it. We've brought it up before. We've also think it's a good idea. So, yeah, maybe. Please let us re-roll raid loot. We opted not to allow people to re-roll raid loot really due to political concerns at the time. The whole kind of stop being pay to win kind of stuff that happens. I tend to agree that I think that decision that was made in, whatever year it was, may have changed, and people would probably be cool with being able to re-roll raid loot. But that's really why it is the way it is right now. Hybridum has a bug question about the spiritual bond, the second core enhancement of fighter. It does sound like that's a bug. I'm not going to read it because it's a little complex. But yeah, that does sound like it's not working as intended. Do I think mounts will be considered for 2018? No. Here's the deal with mounts. Mounts make sense in an MMO with a lot of over-the-ground landscape travel, like, say, Lord of the Rings Online, World of Warcraft. That kind of game. DDO is a much more heavily instance game. And there's pretty much nowhere in the game you can't run to within, let's say, 60 seconds or so, maybe a minute and a half. So the whole point of mounts really just doesn't make sense for DDO. Well, it's true. I guess in the sands of the desert, that would make sense. But there's very few places where it would make sense to have mounts to the point that we would want to invest in creating that system. When will the game be up? Hopefully soon. We head back to YouTube here. I would buy tons of cosmetics if I had somewhere to store them. That has come up. The idea of maybe we finally crossed the threshold that we should be having a cosmetic closet of some kind. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that. I think that, well, there's some technical things that would have to be worked out, but yeah, that would make sense. Can we get a lucky green outfit to go with your lucky hat? I love it. That sounds great. Anything on legendary shroud thingies for the guild airship? Oh, for crafting. Yeah, that makes sense. We should probably do that. Will Warforge get any kind of real love? It's not on our agenda, but hopefully someday we can do a little bit of work on Warforged. Add sort by level to the shared bank. Yeah, I mean that you're not wrong. That would be a lovely addition. That would involve a bunch of engineering time, and we've opted to use that engineering time on other things like hitching and things like that. The relatively, recently. So we just have not had the available resources to do that kind of expansion of the shared bank. We need a broccoli hat. Make against the Demon Queen a 12-man raid, put a teleport in town to it. A split pre-raid group is just annoying. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's some... I think there are also people who like it as a 6-person instance, but I hear you. I mean, that dates back pretty far. The desert stuff goes back a ways. Yeah. How hard would it be to get a search option to the TR cache? It would be it's never usually a matter of hard. It's mostly a matter of how much time would it take to expand the TR cache system, and if we were going to use that time, would it make better sense to do something else with the TR cache system than adding a search feature? And frankly, the latter is more likely. I don't know about new spells on the works, Angel Matilda. Certainly not in the near future. Dye the vampire outfit to make it Carmen Sandiego. I like it. Yeah. Will we ever see a legendary Twilight Forge? I don't know if I would say ever or not. We've sort of not really wanted to go back to Twilight Forge, and instead of wanting to make new content, we're sort of in a new content kick rather than a revamp old content thing. But who knows what the future will bring. Visible cloaks, visible cloaks. I'm down for that. Love being a cleric in Ravenloft. I can turn those flying skulls. Whose evil idea were those? The flying skulls, I believe, actually date to the source material. Which, and actually even before that, I believe, to first edition. Is TR Cache ever going to get a search option? Probably not. Maybe we know why. Reason I just said. Any work that would have to be done to update the tech of the TR cache would be better spent probably removing the TR cache altogether. Or at the very least doing a very different sort of update to the TR cache. Will DDO get a VR engine? No. Probably not. I just don't think the business end of it works out right now. So, Revy World, I hear what you're saying. I play a lot of clerics and I play a lot of Ravenloft. They don't consistently heal undead everywhere. There are specific quests and specific undead in those quests that are flagged incorrectly. But I have been doing a lot of healing, running Reaper stuff in Ravenloft, and it's definitely not 100% thing in terms of healing undead when you should be hurting them. Is there a plan to change Amrath where they can't be run as epic even though they're level 19 to 21? No. They are heroic difficulty quests, not epic difficulty quests. Even though if because of the way level scaling works, as you up in difficulty, technically you get level 20 and 21 on that. We made a deliberate decision to keep those heroic. So, probably not on the Amrath Todd flagging quests. Nothing on the racial changes. I appreciate, Jeremy, you want the ability to change your race when you lesser reincarnate, but we don't really have plans to support that. Will we be releasing comprehensive info about the Druid changes in the near future? I think so. I would say most likely within a month, if not sooner. Yeah. No plans to do a server merge for DDO, sorry. What are the chances of getting a Scion class? I don't know. It'd all be speculation at this point. I would love to see more Greyhawk content. Yeah, if you notice in the few times we've gone to Greyhawk, we've not really used that word, but yeah, so. All right. Will we ever disable rune arms working in PvP areas? No. I wanted to call out, so because of the announcement yesterday, I dug into my archives, and I actually brought this is my OG version of White Plume Mountain that I picked up back in, I'm going to say 1982. Two-ish. Back in the day. It says, this is the expanded edition with twice the artwork. Yeah. You can tell, besides other than the old cover on it, I could tell I was pretty young when it came out because my brain opted to color to crayons and markers to the original front cover on it. White Plume Mountain is from the special S series. Like others in the series, it is meant to stand on its own and is a complete advanced Dungeons & Dragons adventure. By the way, this is S2. S1 is Tomb of Horrors. You can see, like, here's the White Plume Mountain. Some of the original artwork on this stuff is pretty hot. So, does it have the original TSR Wizard logo? It does. At least I think so. Yeah. Yeah, the artwork in this has always been particularly classic, shall we say. I don't know if I don't want to spoil too much for those who don't know it, so I'm going to try to keep it fairly generic. But look at that awesome stuff, huh? Classic D&D artwork. It also came with, like, some supplemental things that you could hand to the players at the time. I'm not going to show a couple rooms because they're just a little bit too spoilery. But, like, some really cool stuff. It also had some nudity on it. Oh no, boobies! Yep. Classic map. And then like, that awesome back cover with the cool-looking sword. Seriously badass sword there. The other thing for source material folks who want to learn more about that is in 5th edition, in Tales from the Yawning Portal, they came out with a version of White Plume Mountain among other things. I believe they did, Hidden Shrine of Tomoken, White Plume Mountain, Dead and Thay, Against the Giants, Tomb of Horrors, Forge of Fury, and Sunless Citadel. But White Plume Mountain, let's see, that would be page 95. You can see their kind of updated version of that map I showed you from back in the day. And it's pretty cool. So if you want to read, here's another one of that kind of platform that I just showed you. So they did a pretty good job of translating the original module to 5th edition, and then we're going to be probably pulling from a mix of both for our version here, and I don't really want to get too much into that, because again, I don't want to spoil it for folks who aren't intimately familiar with that module, but yeah. All right, so I don't know, I guess I managed to kill an hour, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I love there's a whole bunch of reasons why us on the DDO team just are so excited to be able to do these classic adventure packs. But yeah, I mean, talk about reliving our own childhoods and bringing these childhood dreams into a video game reality. It's just such cool stuff. It's such cool stuff. And we are really excited to bring you White Plume Mountain. It's going to be very cool. So, all right, thank you very much for watching the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on twitch.tv/DDOstream, youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live, and facebook.com/DDO Unlimited. Give us a follow on Twitch. And also, check out the calendar. We have got shows all week long, and we are onboarding at least 2 new shows that I know of. So we got some cool additions happening on the calendar. I'll be back next Wednesday for more of the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. Until then, have fun. See ya.